Okay.
All set?
Yeah.
I make a motion that the $28,000 saved by the purchase and use of the Volvo backhoe be used to fund road work in the town before June 30th, 2015.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No discussion?
Got their mind made up.
Did you have a
Unless you
vote?
I'm a no. And I guess I'm kind of a little bit confused how Selectman Heath can make that motion to spend another $28,000 for highway when he was picking apart Fire's budget, who had plenty in their budget for $6,000 the other night.
Well,
I'd like an
I'll
explanation.
answer that by saying we're talking about the road budget and not about the fire budget at the moment.
So roads right now is more important to spend another $100,000
I think
when our I'm not done asking my question.
I'm sorry.
$100,000 from our cash flow right now is what you're expending, and you're nickel and diming fire on safety gear for $6,000. I'm just curious how that works out in your head.
Was I doing it seriously or was I kidding with it about it?
I don't know. I don't kid when I'm in here, so I didn't know what you were doing. I guess.
Oh, okay. We've spent a lot of money on fire, and probably well over the 100,000 that you're talking about, that you mentioned about roads. This 28,000 was.
No, I'm talking about the 100,000 is the 28,000 that was set aside, and then the
I think you're trying to
78,000.
cloud the motion.
The $78,000 that was already discussed, and you added another road in for tarring and paving, that was already discussed by a previous board, that we had a long discussion that there wasn't enough cash flow in the account right now. It's gonna, without setting us up to take the tan in September, which we're trying to avoid, making the taxpayers pay additional interest. So, that you're making motions, and I just was curious if you understand that. That is affecting our cash flow.
Now, you're finished?
I'm done now.
Okay. I'm gonna say this. The $28,000, in my opinion, was saved by the road crew, and it should be applied to the road crew to go on roads for this town.
Mm.
And the reason I think that is because we've shorted, and it's no secret, the road crew that has taken lower budgets for the last 2 years that I know of, and this year even worse than before, we'll cut it back.
Mhm.
So it's a way to try to put a few dollars into some roads here. That's all, nothing more, nothing less.
No, you can't answer the question for your past road commissioner, but I guess my question would be why $250,000 was budgeted for paving and ended up in one-ton trucks. That's the question, why the roads aren't paved. So, but we'll move on from that. The motion's on the floor. You've made a motion, been seconded.
Yeah, and
2 in favor, 1 no.
Okay. Is it open for discussion now? Am I allowed to ask a question, or it's already voted so I can't ask a question?
Voted and passed.
it's voted and passed, but
But you didn't even give anybody any time to ask a question. My question is actually for Mr. Nadeau. Mr. Nadeau.
For what, about the time.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Maybe
Okay.
you prefer to
Well,
ask
no,
one.
you told me I could ask a question, so my question was for
No.
you. He
About the
read a
time.
motion.
This has got a date on it, June 30th.
Okay, June
Which
30th.
is, the money is gonna do anyways, if
June
it's not
30th of
used-
this date.
Yes, if it's not used by June 30th, 2015, then
Right.
it does go back into the general fund anyways.
So that's what you're trying to prevent is to prevent that
And
money.
we can't just take this money and put it on roads. It has to be done by
A
a
vote.
motion, right, and it cannot be used on next year's budget for roads. If it's not used by June 30th, then it just automatically goes, as I said.
Okay, so let me ask you, my understanding of the meeting that I attended here when you, Ben, and Selectman Philbrick were talking to Tom Torno about that $28,000. And I understand that there was a couple of things that were said that weren't quite right, just because you didn't have the paperwork in front. I can't even remember who it was, but they didn't have the paperwork, and there was a couple of issues that weren't quite right. But anyway, my understanding that I was left with was that $28,000 was set aside by the town for equipment, or for a backhoe,
No.
correct?
It was set aside from a former board that Selectman Heath was not part of, so a board decision was made at the time to set that aside, because that was the savings that the town was told would be on the backhoe. So that was set
What do you mean
aside.
would be on the backhoe?
When we bought the backhoe. If we didn't buy
Okay.
the backhoe, you would have spent the $28,000 on excavators.
Or paying for somebody else to come in?
Correct. So
Okay.
this is the $28,000 that would be a savings. So that's how it was sold to the town. So that's why, by a former board, I ultimately find it a little bit disrespectful, as other boards, having been a part of many boards here, we've had those discussions. Do you go back and rip and tear a decision that other boards have made? You know, you respect what they talk
Well, I
about.
mean, if there's a
But-
discussion, it's not just usually a motion and
I
done.
guess-
I don't even
I
know
guess I
what.
would like to understand, you know, Selectman Paul's opinion, you know, seconding this when you don't understand the finances and what's going on in the town. Because you never attended any meetings before you became selectman, so I'm just curious how you understand this.
What
well enough
made
to
you just
second it
jump
that
to
fast.
second?
The money's there, right?
How do you figure?
Well,
You explain that to me when we take a tan in September.
when you take the money out, I know it's a savings,
Mm-hmm.
and you're taking it out. All I want to do is not take it out, use it for roads. That's all.
But that's a budgeted number. You have right now, an $8 million budget. You had a $6.5 million budget last year, but you don't have that in the bank. So it's not a matter of the money's there.
No,
you
no, I know the money isn't there. I mean, I'm just
Right.
saying.
So it affects our
The
cash
people
flow.
voted last year for so much money for the highway. That's what I'm getting at. You're trying to take out, not you, but I mean the system
Sure, yeah.
is trying to take out 28,000,
Yeah.
and I disagree with
Because
that.
the big budget was if you didn't get a backhoe. But
Right.
the second question on the side was if you did get the backhoe, this is what your savings would be. So the backhoe payment was coming out of that budget, and this is your savings that you won't have to expend. That's how it was sold to the public. So I just
No,
find it
that's-
interesting how quickly you second things without.
There was no
I've been
discussion.
thinking about that. When did I read about it? The 28,000 before I was on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just didn't. I always believe in roads. We don't do enough for the roads, but basically, the people voted for the whole thing, and you took 28,000 because it's a savings. But I mean,
Yeah. Because that's what was sold to the people at the time.
Yeah.
Backhoe.
It was,
Understand? All right.
it was voted and seconded. It's passed now, but I was just curious. You know, I mean, this was like kind of at the end of the meeting. I'm grateful that Royce came out and got me so that we could see exactly what happened here. But I mean, he pulled this little piece of paper out of his pocket and he read it and he said, "Yep." So I'm just wondering. Usually, when somebody makes a motion at a meeting, there's a discussion. Like, do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this is a good idea? Why? What are you seeing?
Wait a minute.
We didn't have that. Wait a minute.
we talked.
Wait a
about
minute.
it
I'm not
last
done.
week.
Royce pulled
Yeah.
that out of his pocket and he made the motion, and you jumped right on it with no discussion.
I
And I'm
agree.
curious as
I think
to
it was sneaky. That's why I had you go out and get her. So.
And I did go out and get her.
yes, and I appreciate that you came
We
out and
did
got me
talk
too.
about it last week.
Who?
My
Who
mind was
turned?
made up. Last week I voted no. All right, Ben?
You keep track of your own votes. I don't know.
Okay.
What do you mean you voted no? Last week this was brought up and you voted no. You're just saying.
Vote. That's why I'm confused.
Right.
What did we bring it up? I remember 28,000. You
Tommy was in here and said something about
Right, okay.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Tommy said
Tommy
about
was
the
in.
28,000. That, remember, Ben?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so Tom come in and brought this up the same time that wanted to get his hands on it about a month ago and was explained why it wasn't a good idea, and he agreed with that probably not being a good idea. And matter of fact, I can remember the comment like it was yesterday that said this, is earmarked for something else, and if you go ahead and grab it and run with it, the public doesn't forget. Remember that comment that was made? The public doesn't forget. So I just, I'm super glad you came out and got me, because then people know exactly what happened here.
My concern is
Yeah.
that, because that's what it was sold as, was a savings to the public. If, you know, I
Right.
know there's many out there that will agree that, you know, to put it on the roads. But there's many out there that don't have a voice at the transfer station,
Right.
you know, and, you know, so that when we go back and we wanna buy another piece of equipment, you know, it may come back and bite us in the backside. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah,
So.
well,
But we did discuss it.
you
Well,
did,
not tonight.
you,
Okay.
2 weeks ago, when Tommy was here,
uh-huh,
he asked how we felt. I said, I want to leave it in the roads.
right,
They
okay,
said no. Royce come up with a motion, and I knew what it was
I
for.
did a little more research and soul searching of my own.
So when
Okay.
did you guys discuss this?
I didn't.
Who did? Only what's been done in the meeting.
so, wait a,
And that was,
You did
that's a-
some
that's a-
soul
you
search?
talk about, yeah.
you
no,
did some soul
You don't
searching?
need to go there.
Well, I'm just curious how it just whooped right out, like, oh, you said you did some soul searching, I'm just curious how that,
I remember full well, I full well remember when Larry was, I will say for lack of better words, selling this.
right,
And yes, it was, he had in mind at that time, because I had spoken with him before I was even a selectman,
uh-huh,
to take anything that he saved and put it right back into the roads.
or was that
And that's all.
the
and
way it
that's
was said
one-
to the
That's
people?
another reason. That's another reason why I brought this up in the way that I have.
Okay. Okay. That was the way he said it to the
We've
people,
taken a
was to
lot-
save that money
We've
and put it
taken a
right back
lot of
into the
money
road.
away from the roads. You really go back and look at it.
Yeah.
Budget committee's been
No,
cutting it out,
I've
the selectmen
actually
have been
heard.
cutting it out.
I actually spoke
And-
to Mr. Nadeau outside of the election about that very same thing, how much money has been taken from the road. So I know,
Yeah.
even if only through him. And but yeah, I know there has been a lot of money taken
And
from
the
the
fact-
roads. But there's a way to go
fact
about
is-
getting that money back.
Another fact of the matter is, the longer we let these roads in town go,
Mm-hmm.
the more it's gonna cost to fix them. It's that simple, it's
So
always been that.
where is this? Now this $28,000.
We're worried about this 28,000, the 30th.
Right,
is- The 30th is what? Tuesday.
Tuesday, right?
The works, you've gotta have a bill in and somebody willing to do the work before then. Am I not
So
right?
that's what I'm asking you. What's
So-
what's
so
what's
if this
planned
thing-
with this $28,000? What road? Because
what-
I'd like it to be my road, and I'm sure you'd like it to be your road, and I
Well-
know you'd like it to be your road. So,
That one, I'm gonna leave to Tommy Torno.
mm-hmm,
He's a road commissioner.
mm-hmm.
He should be the one to give you the answer on that at this point.
Okay. So could we invite Mr. Torno to come Monday night's meeting and let us know? I'd sure like to hear. He just got a big gift, 28 grand, and somebody just handed him. I'd like to know what he's gonna do.
It's
If
not,
you can
it's not a
even
gift.
use it, it's not a gift,
Well,
it's something
he might
that
not
was
use it.
intended to go to the roads.
Now, why wouldn't he be able to use it?
Because we're gonna run out of time.
That's right,
Mhm.
The
exactly.
year ends, what,
I will say on tape, I'd be willing to bet we don't run out of time. How much you want to bet me?
We'll see.
Hmm.
We'll see.
How much you want to bet me we don't run out of time? How much you want to bet me?
Well,
Anyway, I would like it very much. I'm asking as a citizen if the board will ask Tom to come in on Monday. I'd like an outline of what he plans to do with $28,000. Would you mind doing that for me?
Mr. Chairman, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd love to have him come in.
Perfect. And Mr. Nadeau, could you make that a third?
what's that?
Would you be willing to support Tom coming in and letting us know what he's going to do?
Whatever.
Great. Okay then, we'll see you Monday.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Motion to adjourn, seconded. All in favor?
All-
Thanks.